Hey, so I told you that I want to share a bit more about my life, and yeah, there are a lot of flies here. I'm this on this beautiful island of Enoshima Island. It's just beautiful. I mean, look at this. Beautiful, stunning. Yeah, and also I just recently um, got inspired by a friend of mine who started to do some, like getting out of her comfort zone and starting to do some projects. And I got inspired. I'm like, oh yeah, that's what I was gonna do as well, documenting my transformation, basically, because I have been, whoa, what's wrong with my hair? I've been really changing my life since the end of last year, I would say. So it's been almost a year, I think, I would say. Oh yeah, it's been a year now since I started to really consciously letting things go and consciously embracing that I'm ready for a change. And I started doing YouTube videos. I started to, document some stuff. But then, after a while, I don't know. I was also overwhelmed. There were so many new things, all positive, but still, like, it's all just new. And at the same time, I kind of got in, like, I started to go back into my old habit of, oh, I can only share or upload videos if I have figured it all out, but that's not the case, right? And I'm sure this video will not be perfect either, but it's gonna be perfectly imperfect. It's just gonna be the right thing, as my friend says. So I just got inspired by her again. So I wanna share my update, and I wanna just document for myself as well, so that I look back and see what kind of transformation I have gone through. So every trip is different. This year I was in so many amazing places. I mean, I started with Dominican Republic for 2 months, and then I stayed in Miami for 3 weeks, and then I came back to Germany. I stayed in Germany for 3.5 months, and now I'm in Japan. I've been here since late August, so I'm staying like 2.5 months here, and every trip is so different. In the DR, I was struggling more with loneliness and fear, like a lot of fear, which I still have. But again, like every trip is just different. Like the top themes are different. And this time, when I came here, when I was new here in Japan, like when I freshly came, this was actually the first place I was staying, more or less. I mean, the first place was actually Shinjuku, Tokyo, to be really clear, to be really like precise. But I stayed only for 2 days, and then I came here and stayed here for like a week. And so this is like a very meaningful place for me, and I love this area. I just love this area. I mean, it's very touristic, but I don't care. Like, it's just beautiful. I love this scenery. So that's why I'm taking this, taking advantage of the fact that there are not many people around me right now. So otherwise, I wouldn't be able to film this. So, and I am Japanese and German mixed. I was born and raised in Germany, but I've always been very, very strongly connected to my Japanese roots, thanks to my parents' education and my parents' beliefs that there's so many flies. I just swallow one. Thanks to my parents' values and beliefs that, culture is very important. So basically, they raised me with two cultures, with two different mentalities and languages. I grew up very strongly connected with the Japanese culture, even though I was raised in Germany. I also feel strongly that I was raised in Japan, right? So, and there are many people who have a mixed background, and they kind of struggle with it, or they find it really challenging. And I also had my phases where I was a bit like, okay, am I more Japanese? Am I more German? Or, like, it's always been like a theme for me, but I've never found it, it was like a negative thing. I've always loved thinking about this. I've always loved thinking about the culture and different mentalities and language, like everything which involves cultural identity and intercultural communication. I've always loved my whole life. It's been a topic for my whole life, and maybe that's the reason why I'm so into doing what I'm doing. So anyway, and I had even though I also had some moments and phases where I would like question myself, what I am. And by the way, I think we are just so complex beings. Like we have multiple layers, right? So I'm not only Japanese or only German. I'm actually both, and I'm more than that. I'm Asian. I'm European, and then I'm also, heavily influenced by the Latin culture. And I'm not saying I'm a Latina, right? Like, don't get me wrong, but still, like, there are so many cultures which have been like shaping me, and I've become the person I am now. So I've always embraced this part of my being, my personality, and my life. And basically, what happened is, since I grew up in Germany, my identity of being mixed and living in Germany was very clear for me. And I've never really lived in Japan, right? I would always come back every year. Thanks to my parents, I would come back to Japan every year. I would, go to the Japanese school every Saturday in Germany. I would always speak Japanese at home with my family members. Not my father though, but, my mom and my brother. And I've always strongly identified myself with my Japanese side, even more than my German side, which has also to do with the fact that I've always had problems, and still now slightly, of me being German because of the history. And I don't know, it's very complex. I find there are many Germans who actually struggle with their identity, being German. I guess it's also the label we have, the Germans, in the world, which is not always a bad label. There are plenty of good labels as well. I mean, Japanese people love Germans, okay? So it's a whole complex story. But anyways, I think I never had to really fully confront it because I was living in Germany. So it was easier for me to say, okay, I'm mixed and living in Germany, but I'm strongly connected to my Japanese and Asian side. So I never had to really confront my German side. But now that I'm in Japan, and this stay is a bit slightly different. I mean, in the past, I've also stayed longer than a month or something. It's not my first time, but I think, every time you're in a different phase. And this time I came with a different intention. And my intention was to connect with my Asian roots and my Japanese roots. So this time I came here, from the first week, I already got confronted with my Germanness and with my non-Japaneseness, which doesn't mean that I'm not Japanese, but I started to differentiate, or I started to see the differences between me and the Japanese people from Japan, or which sides are not Japanese, which sides are more German, or maybe non-Japanese, meaning it could be also European. And I often talk about European when I don't really always talk about Germans. Like you rarely hear me talk about Germans. I talk more about Europeans, because I really identify myself with the Europeans. I love the European culture. I love the European countries. I think Europe is so beautiful. I just don't resonate so much with my German side. This is still a fact. But I guess it was very confronting to me because I just kind of like ran into this like realization. It felt like a big wall. Like, hey, you are more German than you think, and you are more white than you think, and you are more European than you think, and you're less Asian and less Japanese than you have ever thought. And that was super confronting. Now, it's just me sharing my own personal experiences and my own journey. Okay, I'm not here to tell anybody anything. It's just sharing. I'm just sharing my own personal stuff. This has been my theme really this time. It's been super interesting, and because as I mentioned already, like I've been in this transformational phase since last year. This is also part of it. Like I'm letting go so many old beliefs, so many old systems which are not serving me anymore. And I had been wanting to embrace my German side, which is there's also another thing. For example, I've been trying to embrace my German side. As you might have, I don't know, if you have been following me for a longer time, in the past I would call myself curricola japonesa. And then 2 years ago, when COVID started, I switched to curricola japomana. Japomana means basically it's a combination which I made up from Japonesa, which is Japanese, and Alemana being German, combined Japomana. And the reason why I did that was because I felt like I was denying my identity and my roots, and I was not being genuine. And I want to show up genuine and authentically. So, that for me it definitely includes me embracing my German side. So yeah, that's been my theme definitely during this stay in Japan. And I struggled a lot at the beginning because I so badly wanted to be Japanese, and I so badly wanted to be accepted as Japanese by my Japanese people. I hate it. It still triggers me sometimes when somebody says, you're German, so you must be doing this, right? Or must be a German side or whatever. They don't mean it in a bad way. It just triggers me still. But at the same time, I have also understood that I can be myself. And this has nothing to do with the culture I mean, of course it is shaped by that, but me being who I am means who I am. I mean, I am who I am wherever I go, with whoever I am with, or I would like to. Of course, there are small adjustments. Like you do want to adapt to certain situations and people if you want to connect with them. So I think it's also this desire of me, like wanting to belong to a community, wanting to belong to the people and the environment you love, right? So it's been kind of a struggle at the beginning, but then there was a shift, and I started to realize, I can be myself. I can be authentically and genuinely be myself, and people actually appreciate who I am and how I am. So yeah, it's been like that. So it's still an ongoing theme, and I guess it's gonna basically accompany me for my whole life, I would say. But the focus has been definitely on that, and I just feel so blessed that I get to experience it, that I get to grow more, and I get to just challenge my own old beliefs and my own old systems I've been using. Excuse me. And to really get rid of the layers which are not serving me anymore. Yes, so okay, the video got longer than I thought. It is a very complex story, so yeah, I think I would just stop by now because it's getting darker and darker and I have to go all the way back now. Thank you for watching until the end, and thank you for following my journey, and I will talk to you soon. Take care. Bye.